Formidable Fabrications on part 3 of the Loadstar truck build. And here we have a 1999 F800. So what does this have anything to do with the truck build, you may ask? Well, it has a lot to do with it. So let's start. So essentially, I was going to put a Detroit diesel in here. I had a 6V92, which is a V6 version of a Detroit diesel. And it had the silver edition, so it had the turbo and the supercharger on it. I was going to get it for like 500 bucks, but it probably needed a rebuild. And as I'm looking, the rebuild kits are kind of expensive, a couple grand. So I was kind of figuring out what I wanted to do. And this guy, so a local tow truck guy that I'm friends with, had this truck sitting in his lot that he had just bought for parts. And he also needed a tow truck bed built, just like the one I built on a few videos back last year, I think. This truck has the 5.9 Cummins, the 12 valve with the P pump. So it's an all mechanical engine. It already has the transmission. It's a fully running truck. He actually drove it here this morning. So I was thinking about it, and I think that this 5.9 might actually be a good engine for my Loadstar build over there. That and everything is already here. Let me show you. So we have the 5.9 Cummins. We have the whole radiator system, the intercooler, the transmission. This one does have juice brakes, so we'll need to convert the engine over to air brakes. So there's the power steering pump. So there's a gear-driven air compressor that fits in between those two for air brake systems. So it's all here. The truck has less than 100,000 miles on it, which was awesome. So you know the engine is barely broken in. The thing starts up, fires up, it just runs great. The other thing I liked about this one too is this power steering box was behind the front leaf spring, which on the bus this was out here, which long story short, the front of the truck is going to be like right here. So if anything is past that front leaf spring, then we're going to have to like modify it to make it work. So this makes it easier because the steering is already set up. The only downside is that these are juice brake axles. So what I'm going to have to do is take this suspension and axle off and put the bus stuff on here to make this work. And what else? There's a lot going on here. So the back of this frame is pretty messed up too. It's not terrible right here. Where you get further back, there's a lot of rust jacking on this. So the plan is to cut the frame here, and over here we have the bus frame, and we're going to cut this frame, I think like over here somewhere, and we're going to put all that stuff. We're going to cut the frame like right in here somewhere, weld this frame back to the front of that truck, and then move all these air brake stuff over to that truck. Take this axle and springs and spring hangers and put that on that truck as well with all this air brake stuff. So even though this power steering system is newer, it did have a lot more miles on it, but where this lines up doesn't work. This is like as far forward as it can be. So I'd have to actually move this back, then I have to take the steering rod and cut it and shorten it, which I'm not really a big fan of. But luckily, all these axles and all these frames are so much the same. So I can take this piece off, or I can use the other one, whichever one works better for the steering. So I can either leave this on or take it off, but either way they're completely interchangeable, which is awesome. So we still have the air brake parts, we'll still have the nicer suspension. This only has 2 springs That truck over there has like 5 springs up in the front, so this is definitely gonna have a smoother ride, considering I'm not gonna be hauling the weight that these originally did. And I still get the air brake suspension on the rear. So that's the current plan. So in a nutshell, the back of this truck goes, the front stays, the cab comes off, front axles get swapped. Meantime, the engine is still there. It's a 6-speed transmission that still runs great. And the guy that I'm working with is coming to take this bed here probably in the next hour, which I just cut all the bolts off of so we can slide this bed onto a rollback. So that's where we're at right now with it. So the great thing is he wanted a bed and I needed a engine. We're working together, doing some trading and a little cash swapping, and then we're done. So in a nutshell, the guy had the truck and he was just offering me a couple bucks and for me to rebuild his tow truck bed, and he would give me this truck. So I'm not on a budget per se, but I'm definitely trying to keep costs down, and the more trading I can do, the better. So the tow truck guy will be here in 20 minutes to pick this bed up, and then we'll have a chassis to start working on. In the meantime, I think we're going to drive this around a little bit and test it out before we do any cutting. So with all that said, what we're going to do with the bus frame is we're going to take this front axle and spring assembly off. Alright, there's the tripod.
What do we need the tripod for? Or what are we doing? I have no idea. Do I put it on the tripod?
Yeah, you know how? Just
Yeah.
stick it on.
You flip that.
Yeah.
And it sticks.
Line it up. Alright.
And then we do this. Get a wider angle. Your head's still cut off.
Want to get me...
It looks like Grammy took the video.
I should leave that in.
No, don't.
Probably should get me taking the shocks off.
How do I do that?
Pick up the camera and you walk over.
How do you do that?
And point the camera to the thing.
I'll stick my dirty finger in your mouth.
That's what you tell all the boys.
Shut up. Shouldn't we like lift the truck up in the air before we take the shocks off?
No. It's not gonna do anything.
Oh, I guess it's not. Just gonna make the truck bouncy.
Yeah, it's gonna start magically bouncing.
Oh.
Video again. You just like randomly shooting into space.
Shut up. You're not leaving that in, are you?
Maybe.
Shut up.
Are you paying attention?
No. What are you doing?
Taking off the shock. I was taking off the shock.
Doesn't seem to be working, does it?
Not particularly. Help if I was in reverse.
You're stupid. You had it in you had it in push in?
Had it in tighten.
Tighten? Whatever.
Push in.
Push in.
I had it in the push in mode.
Shut up. You're an idiot.
And the other one's up there. Yeah, I think we're gonna take this.
No, we don't.
Oh, let's hold this thing on. I feel like we just.
They need to make a car that's easy to take apart.
It's funny when you have it in pull-out mode instead of push-in mode.
Shut up. I couldn't even remember what it was called. Pull in, now push out.
It's okay.
I'm just a little bit special. Just a little bit.
There's gonna be like a bunch of footage
I'm just like...
of like you looking at the ground.
Whoa.
You hear our voices, you won't see anything. Put my shoes.
How Grammy takes videos.
I'm gonna leave that in so she'll see it.
It was a joke, Grandma. I'm sorry. That's not a wrench.
It is for this.
Those are vice grips, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if I'm right or not, but...
Oh man.
That tight?
Oh dude, that is tight.
Cutting the brake lines.
Tempted to. There.
Oh, ow.
Now it's loose.
Yay.
Alright, let's put some pig mats down.
Stop the floor from getting all...
Brake fluid, like nasty stuff.
I mean, there's already brake fluid on the floor. Is that gonna soak up the brake fluid or just...
Yeah, it will.
Stop it from getting on the floor?
Soak it up too. That
You'll be okay.
yeah.
I'm gonna not stand in front of it,
It's not gonna squirt.
just in case it does. Has pressure in it.
Shouldn't have much of any pressure, honestly.
I mean, you already let most of it out over there. I think that's how it works. Ooh, it didn't squirt at all.
Mm-mm. Shouldn't be much left in here to Drip out. All right, need to make sure this thing is set to pull out instead of push in.
Pull out, to pull in and push out.
I gotta get a wrench behind there, but I don't feel like it, so I'm hoping it'll just come out.
Hold on, stop. Okay. David, what is it?
Push your side in. You lower this up a little bit.
Which one lowers it?
Here.
It's hitting somewhere.
Okay, so let me show you where we're at right now. So right now, so as you can see, we got the new axle situated under the truck. What we got to do is we got to line up the center of this to that line, but this bolt in here is really tight. So this, I have to figure out how to turn this. I'm having a hard time just turning it to see, because this steering box is in the way. So I'm gonna have to take a little bit of this bracket off to have it, to make it fit. The backs fit perfectly fine. There's a bolt sticking out, but it seemed to fit right in and around that bolt. And on the other side of the truck, everything fits real nice. That's in there tight, and the back is in there tight. So really all I gotta do is drill holes for this one, and then this side can really be bolted up. So that's what we're doing now. So I'm just eyeballing this thing to see how much of this I really need to take off. So between the midpoint and that, I got 3 inches. The midpoint of this, 3 inches, leaves me right to the edge of this washer line. So if I cut right in that washer line and cut down a little ways, it should be okay. So I think I need to take off that much. and it should slide right in past that, because like I said, this isn't lined up with this, but once I put the weight on this thing, I think it'll flex and it'll sit where it needs to be. But we've got to get that part cut off first, and then it'll sit nice. Alright, well, everything's cut on here. I got this cut around the power steering thing. I probably didn't need to cut as much, but whatever. It is what it is. And everything lines up really nice. So for today, I'm just going to throw one bolt in the front on each one, just so the axle doesn't move, and then I can just use the bobcat to push the truck in here for today. So it's not bad. Everything seems to fit really well. So just got to make sure that the steering arm fits in here. So my only thing I'm concerned about is this collar, if it fits into this arm. But even if it doesn't, I think I can replace this with the original one. I'm not sure. So we'll have to see how it goes. So let's get some holes drilled, and then we can at least push this in the garage, because it's hot and I'm getting tired. So I'm going to call this a day soon.
Hello.
Get your blades. Sorry. Move it along.
Sorry.
God. Thorn in my side. Don't have kids, everybody. It's a waste.
That's wrong. Kids are good.
Sorry to cut the video so short on that one. Really all I did to finish it up was just drill holes and put bolts in, which I'll show you in a minute here. The reality of the situation is that in Maryland here, over the past 3 months is how long it took me to make this video or film it. We've had a terrible heat wave. Most of the temperatures have been in the 90s or the hundreds with excessively high humidity, and I just can't work in there. As a welder, it's really hard to work in those conditions because you can't run a fan, and so it's just really hot. And I don't like working in the sun. I never have. Bottom line is, I was working just enough to pay the bills and getting this done when we had a cool spell. So with that said, you can see behind me that I'm currently working on the third part of the video now that the temperatures have gotten better. So let's go take a look at the finished product for this video, which is the front axle setup. And you can see behind me, we're working on the rear axle right now. So here's the finished product. We have the shock towers put in, and we have all the bolts put in for the rear hanger and the front hanger. The only thing that may have been interesting to film was that spring hanger was forward about 1 inch, and I needed to get more space out of it to clear that bolt, and so to make that spring a little more straighter. So the only thing I had to do was put a porta power from there to push that spring hanger back a little bit. But short of that, it was literally just drilling holes. So everything's hooked up on here. The only thing that's not hooked up is the brakes, which that'll be a whole nother video because I still have to put the air compressor in here and set up the pedals. But I can't set up the pedals until I have the new cab on here. This is still the Ford cab, and that is the old cab that's supposed to go onto here. So brakes won't work until that cab goes on here. So in the meantime, our next project is to take this axle out and put the axle that's in the garage under here. And in the meantime, we have to get this extra piece cut off. As you can see, there's a good bit of rust jacking in there. So I'm going to take all this off, clean this all up, clean this whole frame up, paint it, and that'll be part 4, I guess, or part 5, part 4. I think this part 4 will be this rear axle. Anyway, so if you like the video so far, please don't forget to like and subscribe. You don't want to miss any updates on this truck build. It will definitely get more interesting as time goes on. And also, my kid was on this video with me. Trying to get him into this as much as possible. So hopefully you liked our banter. That's our day-to-day routine for each other. So once again, like, subscribe. You don't want to miss the next one. And see you on the next one.